Hey, my name is Ben. Thanks for stopping by. So I am a master plumber in the state of Minnesota, and I wanted to just make a quick video kind of explaining the process of how you become a master plumber, specifically in the state of Minnesota, but also in other states it's fairly similar. There are some states that are more lenient and don't require nearly as much licensing, which good on you if you live in one of those states. Minnesota's not like that though. We have a process that we have to go through to get your licensing. I'm just going to kind of walk you through the options that you have. So the first thing that I want to touch on really quick is going to a trade school. If you go to a trade school in Minnesota, you can attend a plumbing course, and it's typically a 2-year program. And for that 2-year program, you trade that, or when you go to actually then work as a plumber, you have 1 year worth of experience that they credit you. So you do 2 years of school, and then they give you 1 year towards your apprenticeship. Trade school obviously has some benefits, like just teaching you some more practical information as far as just literally how you do certain aspects of plumbing. So there is value there. However, you don't actually have to go to trade school in order to get your plumbing licensing in Minnesota. So the way I got my license is actually just by going through the entire apprenticeship process. Technically, we're called registered unlicensed plumbers when you first start working for a plumber. So the process basically is you look for a plumbing company and you apply for and hopefully are able to get in as just a entry-level worker at a plumbing shop somewhere, and then you're going to be able to become a registered unlicensed plumber. And once you do that, the clock starts ticking on the number of hours that you need to work. So right here are the requirements for getting your hours in. So right here, qualifying for a license examination. So Journeyman is the first thing that you're going to be going for. So you will become a registered unlicensed individual after you fill out this application once you have gotten your job with a plumbing company. So you submit that, you get your apprenticeship card, and then you will start accumulating hours. And you can see right here that our total requirement of the number of hours we need to work is 7,000 before you can become a journeyman worker. Now, they restrict you to 1,750 hours per year that you can claim. Here, it says that right there. And if you divide that out, that comes out to 4 years. So in 4 years, you can become a journeyman plumber in Minnesota. And you can see they break it down a little bit more right here. They want you to have 2,000 hours of drain, waste, and vent, 1,000 of fixture installation, 2,000 of water distribution. There are other categories as well, but they can be in your total 7,000 hours. They can be split up in those other additional categories however you want, because obviously this is 5,000 right here and our total is 7,000, so you have 2,000 more hours. Right here, it shows us all of the categories that your experience can be in. So you can fill out one of these forms every year. This is a work experience verification form, and you will accumulate the hours that you need so that you can be eligible to test for your journeyman license. And once you have your journeyman license, you can then go through this process here. You have to just work 1 more year, 1,750 hours, and then you are eligible to take your master plumber license. Now, going through a trade school option, you're going to have a little bit of an advantage as far as the head knowledge of the specific plumbing things that you're going to be doing, instead of just going in and working for a shop and not necessarily having very much knowledge regarding what you're doing. However, you can learn everything that you need to know through an apprenticeship program, especially if you are a little bit more diligent and work towards learning the UPC. Minnesota has adopted the UPC, which is the Universal Plumbing Code, I believe is what it stands for, and there are Minnesota amendments to that. And you can actually go and download, I believe you can download the code book. I'll put a link in the description to the Minnesota code book so you can look at it. I will also link to these forums in the description, so you can go download those if you are in the process of looking at becoming an apprentice plumber or a registered unlicensed plumber. So then the more difficult part is actually getting the actual license. Once you're eligible, once you've worked your 7,000 hours to be eligible for your journeyman license, then you're going to need to take the journeyman test. And thankfully, there are a number of courses and classes around the state, and I'm sure it's like this in other states as well. but where there are plumbing training companies or continuing education companies that will offer courses on helping you to prepare for the state exam and helping you just learn more plumbing theory. Because there are some aspects of testing that you don't use on a regular basis unless you're in really commercialized settings. So like you have to do testing on doing isometric drawings for your master plumber test, I believe. You have to do roof drain calculations and sizing, and apartment buildings, things that we don't normally do every day. Here where we're located, we do mostly residential plumbing. So you have to learn that stuff somewhere. So doing a prep class for your plumbing test is going to be super important. I did one for my Journeyman class, or for my Journeyman license, and studied up, took the test, passed it, and then for my master's, I actually just restudied my same material and did some research on the side because it costs money for those courses, of course. And I was able to pass my master plumbing test without taking that class again. One nice thing is that Minnesota does have full reciprocity with North Dakota and South Dakota. So once you have your licensing in Minnesota, you can do work in either of those places as long as you have the proper business licenses and insurance. But usually the process of transferring your license to another state requires retesting. So if you have your master plumbing license or your journeyman license in Minnesota, usually they count that experience if you go to Wisconsin or some other state, and they're just going to require you to retest with their code and making sure that you're up to date on those things. And then you should be able to transfer that license to most places in the US that I'm aware of. If you are not from Minnesota, I actually found a really great website that you can go through and see the requirements for your specific state. I'll put a link in the description to this website. Basically, you can go through and see a quick summary of what each state requires all the way to Wyoming. Okay, so question for you guys. What do you guys think about the whole trade school versus full apprenticeship approach? Obviously, I lean a little bit more towards if you can get in with the plumbing company, if you can find a decent plumbing company that will just let you start, being the gopher, that's going to be your most economical way to go about this, because you can get paid for your entire process of becoming a master plumber instead of having to pay for trade school, and trade school actually takes you 1 year longer in Minnesota. So you go to school for 2 years and you only get 1 year of experience. Like if you went to school for 2 years and it counted for 2 years of experience, I'd be a little bit more tempted. But with the way the system is set up, I'd highly recommend just trying to find a company that you can work for directly. And I think that that's going to put you ahead financially. And I think there's really not much downside to it, except for that you have to be a little bit more self-motivated to go out and learn the things you need to learn to establish a good understanding of plumbing. So, okay, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you found this to be helpful, smash that like button, subscribe down below, and make sure you click the bell to turn on notifications so that when I upload a video, it'll actually show up for you. I make videos on this channel about all sorts of how-to things and plumbing, HVAC, refrigeration, and electrical. So if you want to see more videos like that, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll talk to you guys in the next one. Why are cats so offensive? Ouch. 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 Stop it. You're wrecking my pants.